everyone. This site, Sakshi Arora, Research Associate, International School of Business Management, Suresh Kendra University, Jaipur. So, in the today's lecture, we are going to discuss about what is the contract of indemnity. Contract of indemnity defines Section 124 and Section 125. What is the meaning of the indemnity? Indemnity means basically to make a goods loss of another. So let's understand through the definition. Section 124 defines the contract of indemnity. Thus, a contract of indemnity is a contract whereby one party promises to save the other from loss caused to him by the conduct of the promisor or any other person. That means, in the contract of indemnity, one party, we know for making any contract we require the two parties. So the one party, whenever the to save promise to another party for saving to make a goods loss and uh, to save the other from the law that is caused to him by the conduct of the promisor according to promisor condition or any other person, that is known as the contract of indemnity. Let's take the example. Suppose person A buy a two-wheeler, okay, from the Honda showroom, and there is a all there is like a person has the insurance about that two-wheeler. So how can if promisor promisor in this contract, the promisor promises to save the person A, that means the other, from loss that is caused due to him. That means if in the future if any problem occur or any mistakes or any loss occur in that two wheeler, so that will be paid by the, that will be suffer, that will be saved by the Honda showroom on the behalf and terms and condition of the insurance basically. So that is known as the contract of the indemnity. In a contract, there are two parties. For making any contract, so require the at least two parties or more than. The parties who promises to save the other from loss is known as the indemnifier. That means the person in that the insurance company. That means insurance company promises to save the other from loss. That is known as the indemnifier. The party who is promised to be saved or protect against the loss is known as the uh, indemnity holder or indemnified. That means to whom to make a good loss for other, that is known as the indemnified or indemnity holder. That means the promisee. Let's take the another example. Anta contracts to indemnify Banta against the consequences of any proceeding which Santa may take against Banta in respect of certain sum of 200 rupees. This is a contract of indemnity. In this contract, Anta is an indemnifier and Banta is an indemnity holder or indemnified. That means Anta make a contract to indemnify Banta against is if any consequence of any precedent which Santa may take against Banta in respect of, but here is the certain amount, that means the 200 rupees. Up to 200 he can indemnify. So this is the contract of indemnity. So in this contract we have the two party. Those who promise to save other from the loss is known as the indemnifier, and Banta is an indemnity holder or the indemnified, that is the promisee. So, what are we can say the essentials are required for making a indemnity of a contract. First one is parties to a contract. So there must be at least two parties, namely that means indemnifier and the indemnified. Promisor or indemnifier is essential part in this contract for making a contract of indemnity. Promisor, we know who is promisor and we already know who is the indemnifier. Actually, the term promisor and the indemnifier is the same, but in the different contract, we call the different name the parties, the promise or the indemnify or the indemnity holder. So at least two parties are required for making a indemnity of the contract, that means the indemnifier or the indemnity holder. Second, what type of the essentials are required for making a contract? A contract of indemnity is gone into to shell the promise from the laws. The laws might be caused because of the lead of the promisor or some other individual. That means protection of laws. That means the indemnity is gone into the shell. That means what type of the promises is done by is promised by the indemnifier. That means he should say from that loss to the indemnity holder. So the loss what is caused because of the lead what is promised by the promisor or some other individual, but there should be protection of the loss because it is caused because of the lead of the promisor. Express or implied, the contract of indemnity might be express. For example, it can be expressed, for example, made by word expressed or composed, that means or suggested. For example, gathered from the direct of the parties and condition of the specific case. So expressly, if they have making the contract or any indemnity might be expressed, so that is known as the contract should be the maybe the express or implied, that is depend on the parties. Another essentials of the valid contract, what are the valid contract, what are the essentials are required for making a valid contract? So we already read in the Indian Contract Act 1872, and contract of indemnity is an extraordinary sort of contract. The standards of the overall law of contract contained in section 1 to 75 of the Indian Contract Act 1872 are appropriate to them. Subsequently, it should have all the basic of a legitimate contract. That means there should be at least two parties and consideration should be required. Any contract that should be free consent. So these are the etc we can say, these are the essential of required for making a valid contract. Example, a proprietor of newspaper promises to indemnity the printer of the paper against claim arising from libel printed in the newspaper. So this is not a valid contract because here is proprietor not doing a such type of promises to, if a printing should not in a proper form, is there any mistake or error, so he will be protect him or her against the laws that is occurred due to that proper printing. So this is not a valid contract of indemnity because here is the object is unlawful, because here is the proprietor of the newspaper promises to indemnity about the printer of the paper. Right of indemnity holder. So what are the rights of the indemnity holder in the contract of indemnity? First, the right to recover damages. That means what are the how can indemnity holder, indemnity party can claim for right to recover for the damages. So all damages which he may be compelled to pay in any suit in respect of any matter covered by in the contract of indemnity under the section 125 sub 1 subsection 1. So any damages which is which may be compelled to pay that time making of the contract of the indemnity, so he has a right, he can claim for any matter that is covered by the contract of indemnity while during making the contract, right to recover cost which he may be compelled to pay in bringing or defending the suit for indemnity. So, what are the costs that is promised by the parties? So, he can also claim for the. He has also the right to recover cost, right to recover sums paid, recover all the sums which may have paid under the terms of any compromise or any such suit under the section 125 subsection 3. So what are the sums, what are the amount that may have paid under the contract or that is promised by the indemnifier, so he should has to pay for that to the lost party, that means the indemnity holder, so he has a right to recover sums paid also. Rights of indemnifier. Right to subrogation. That means on payment of amount of loss or liability to the indemnified, the indemnifier is subrogated to all the rights of indemnified. That means while making the contract, what are the amount, that means if the indemnifier make a contract or promise to another party like up to 500 rupees loss if you bear during this situation or during this contract, I am liable to pay that, I am liable to the indemnified. So he has indemnifier is subrogated to all the rights of the indemnified. Right to equities. On the payment of on payment of the amount of loss or liability to the indemnified, the indemnifier is entitled to all equities which is the indemnifier could have enforced against the third party liable for the loan, because the third party is liable. That means person A, B, or C. If the person A, person A promised to B, I am buy the particular product I I will from the C, and I will, if he is not able to pay that amount particular, like suppose that product amount is 1,000 rupees. Okay, so that means if he is not able to pay, I will be indemnified that amount. So that means in which indemnifier could have enforced against a third party liable for the loss basically, because he has a right to equities, right to refuse indemnity. That means if there is no such type of loss, if the party A promised to B while making a contract up to 200 rupees loss will be indemnified during that contract, and suppose the loss has the total amount of the loss is the 500, so indemnifier has a right to refuse the indemnity, because while making the contract he has promised to up to 200, not up to 500 rupees, so he has a right to refuse the indemnity. Contract of guarantee. I hope you understand the concept of contract of the indemnity. Contract of guarantee under the section 126. What is a guarantee? When we buy the product, you heard about there is some guarantee and warranty available on that product. So let's see, let's understand what is the contract of the guarantee. A contract of guarantee is a contract to perform the promise or discharge the liability of the third person in the case of his default. That means whenever making a contract. So the party, third part, that means the party is performed the promise or he is discharged from the liability of the third person if any party in such case of his default. There are three parties in the contract of the guarantee. The party, the first one is the surety, third one is the debtor, and second one is the debtor, and the third one is the creditor. So who is the surety? That means in the contract, the person who gives, that means a contract of guarantee in this surety. Who is the surety? That means the person who gives the guarantee on the behalf of for the other. That means that is known as the surety. The person in respect of whom guarantee is given, that means who to whom is given the guarantee. That means person A is giving the guarantee of the B. The A, the B is known as the principal. Debtor, the person to whom the guarantee is given called the creditor. That means the person to whom the guarantee is given, that means the creditor, the person A is has given the guarantee to person C on the behalf of B, that means the C is here as the creditor. Let's understand through the example. Ankita advances a loan amount 70,000 to Pallab. So in this contract, Ankita give a advance to Pallab. The amount is 70,000. Sashti, who is the boss of Pallab, promises that in case Pallav fails to repay the loan, then she will repay the same. So here are the three parties. That means Ankita, in the case of the contract of guarantee, who the person who is giving the loan of amount is known as the creditor. Pallav, that means the Pallav is known who is taking the loan is known as the principal debtor, and Sashti is the surety who is giving the guarantee on the behalf of the Pallav. That means in the future, if Pallav is not able to repay that amount, not able to return that amount, that means the 70,000, so he is she is liable to, she is giving the guarantee on the behalf of the Pallav, she will repay the loan amount, that means the 70,000 rupees. A contract of guarantee may either be oral or written. It may be either be oral by the telephonically, by the expressly mode, or by the written, that means in a paper form. It may be expressed or implied from the conduct of the party, that is depend on the parties basically. Essentials of a contract of guarantee. So what are the essentials are required for making a contract of guarantee? First, must be made with the agreement of all three parties. That means while they are creating a contract of guarantee, so there should be at least the agreement of the all the three parties are required. So what are the who are the three parties? That means the principal debtor, creditor, and the surety. All the three parties to the contract, that means the principal debtor, creditor, and the surety. So these three parties should agree to make a such contract with the agreement of each other, and each other they know about what are the agreement while making the contract. Here, it is important to note that the surety takes his responsibility to be liable for the debt of the principal debtor on the request of the principal debtor. That means the surety, that means who is giving the guarantee of on behalf of the principal debtor, is liable for that. Hence, communication either express or implied by the principal debtor to the surety is necessary. It may be he can get the surety by the either express or implied. The communication of the surety without the creditor to enter into a contract of guarantee without the knowledge of the principal debtor will not constitute a contract of guarantee. So the conclusion is that the three party must be met with the agreement of all the three party. That means they have the proper knowledge about the agreement between the three parties is necessary. Otherwise, it will not consider as a contract of the guarantee. Let's take the example. Sen lends money to Akash. Sen is the creditor, Akash is the principal debtor. Sen approaches to Raghav to act as the surety. Without surety, how can uh, the person, how can the Sen give the loan to the Akash? So, same approaches to Raghav. If you give the surety of that person, so I am ready to pay that. Okay, but in this example, same approaches Raghav to act as a surety without any information to Akash. Raghav agrees. So this is not valid because three parties agreements are required for making the contract of the guarantee, and in this contract, Raghav and Raghav and Sam know about the contract. Okay, Akash doesn't know about that, so this is not a valid contract. Consideration. In the last contract, we already gave about what is the consideration. According to section 127 of the Act, anything is done or any promise made for the benefit of the principal debtor is sufficient consideration to the surety for giving the guarantee. Consideration must be a fresh consideration given by the creditor and not a past consideration. That means a fresh consideration is given by the party, that means a surety and the principal debtor. According to section 127, past consideration should not be considered. So it is not necessary that the guarantor must receive any consideration. And sometimes even tolerance on the part of the creditor in case of default is also enough consideration. Consideration is like exchange something. That means they make the promise. It is done any promise that is made for the benefit of the principal debtor or the surety, that is known as the consideration. In State Bank of India versus Primco Sawmill 1983. The State Bank noticed to debtor defendant and also threatened legal action against her, but her husband agreed to become surety. Okay, here is bank gave the notice to the debtor, but in the case, her husband agreed to become the surety, undertook pay all the liability. He is also executed a promissory note in favor of the state bank. Bank refrained from threatening action because here is the consideration between the principal debtor or the surety. So it was held that such patience and accepting on the bank's part constitute good consideration for the surety between the parties. Liability. In a contract of guarantee, the liability of surety is secondary. That means liability of a surety is secondary. That means the principal debtor is liable firstly if he or she is not able to repay that amount, not able to fulfill his promise, then the liable surety of the person is liable to repay that amount. This means that since the primary contract was between the creditor and the principal debtor, and the liability to fulfill the terms of contract lies primarily with the principal debtor, is only the default of the principal debtor that the surety is liable to pay. That means if any contract that a principal debtor is not able to fulfill his liability in the terms of the contract, that means surety is surety, that means the person to whom to is given the guarantee, so is liable to repay that amount. Next, presupposes the existence of a debt. The main function of a contract of guarantee is to secure the payment of the debt that is taken by the principal debtor. The principal debtor will take the loan from the creditor. So, in the contract of guarantee, that amount should be secure. That amount is repaid by the another party. That means the surety. If no such debt exists, there is nothing left for the surety to secure. If the principal debtor is able to repay that amount, so in that case, the surety not given such a surety not secure to repay that amount, because already the amount which is paid by the principal debtor. Hence, in case when the debt is time bare or void, no liability of the surety arises. That is depend on the time period of the contract. The House of Lords in the Scottish case of Swan versus Bank of Scotland 1836 held that if there is no principal debt, no valid guarantee can exist. So the principal debt is required for making the contract of guarantee. Must contain all the essential of the valid contract. So in the all contract, like contract of the indemnity, contract of the guarantee, contract of the bailment, so essentials of valid contract are should be there. Since a contract of guarantee is a type of contract, all the essential of valid contract will apply in the contract. Two parties are required, agreement should be there, and consent, consent, free consent, valid consideration of acceptance, agreement, intention to create a legal relationship, etc., are required to be fulfilled for making any valid contract. Example, let's understand it through the example S. Here is the person S is a bookseller who supplies a set of books to P. So, under the contract that if P does not pay for the books, his friend K would make the payment. So, here is the we can see the specific guarantee is given by the person. Say S is the creditor and the P is the principal debtor, and the K is given the guarantee surety on the behalf of P. In the specific guarantee, K's liability would come to the bank. That means at the moment the price of the book is to be paid to the S. If P is not able to pay that amount, so who is liable? K is liable to repay the amount of that book to person S. Types of guarantee. There are two types of guarantee. First, the specific guarantee, and second is continuing guarantee. When what is a specific guarantee? When a guarantee extends to a single transaction or a debt, it is known as a specific or a simple guarantee. So let's understand it through the example. Suppose there are two persons, person A or person B. Person A buy a laptop from the person B, and the person C is given the specific guarantee, that means a simple guarantee, like he has to pay the 50,000 amount to person A in a single transaction. Okay, that is known as the specific. That means a single transaction or a debt is known as the specific guarantee. Continuing guarantee. When a guarantee extends a series of transactions is known as continuing guarantee. Let's take the example. There are the three parties in that person A, B or C. C is the surety on the behalf of B. If the B is not able to pay the book amount, that means the 20,000 to A, so there is a contract of the guarantee in the continuing guarantee. C is liable to pay that amount in the series of the transaction. That means that he can pay for 5,000 one month, 5,000 next month, 5,000 third month, and the 5,000 the fourth month. That means here is the series of the transaction are paid by the another party, that is a surety, that is known as the continued guarantee. So this is this is the contract of the guarantee. I hope you understand what is the contract of guarantee and what is the contract of indemnity. Thank you.